Yeah. Thank y'all. I've been thinking about the word panhandling. I saw it. I just been, just very deeply affected by what's happening around us on the streets,
Mm.
especially in San Francisco, where they are literally have announced a quota and they're arresting 100 people a day and putting them in these drug courts through these drug courts where they have three options. They can either go to these drug camps, go to jail, or take a one-way bus ticket out. Yeah, scary fascism in real time right next door. Um, and the people of San Francisco voted for it, even scarier. Um, and I saw one, I saw somebody, panhandling. I saw the sign, no panhandling, and I was like, where did that word come from?
Mm.
And I couldn't find anything except it kind of start to show up around the 1880s. I was like, oh, that's an interesting time. That's kind of like 20-ish years after the official end of Black slavery here in the US. Um, I was talking to Owen. He was like, were people holding out pans? I was like, that's what I always thought panhandling came from
Yeah.
people literally holding out, wanting people to put something in their pan so they could eat.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, when did we kind of, Shawnee, going back to this resistance of love, like when did we come to this collective decision that we can't ask for what we need? We can't even say what we need. And then we shame others for asking for their needs. And yeah, how did that come to be? Where like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just something I've been kind of sitting with, and it's just the images like of a mom or a child are most vulnerable would be the ones holding a pan, to be filled. So just my thoughts about um yeah, why just breaking this collective um notion of, yeah, we can't ask for what we want, and we cannot give people what they want, and what they need. That is, unless it's under these conditions. So yeah. Um, and then we're in Aquarius season. So, this air sign, everyone thinks it's a water sign. The air sign. Did y'all think it was a water? I always thought it was a
Oh,
water sign.
it makes sense that
Yeah,
people think that
Aquarius. Yeah.
aquarium. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's air movement. And then and Vedic astrology is actually like an empty vessel. It's an empty cup.
Mm.
That's its symbol. And
Interesting.
so yeah, so we're being asked right now to kind of fill this, have our cup. It's asking you to fill. That's what Aquarius asks you to, you know, put out your hands, put out your cup, and
Yeah,
let it get filled.
yeah.
So kind of really against all of our, what our society is
Mm.
kind of saying. We are asked to pause and ask for what we need and what we want and encouraged to do that. So, um, yeah, I've been really trying to tap into that. Like, what do I want? What do I want? Because I think a lot of the frustration is like, I don't think I ever sat down like I don't actually know what I want.
Mm.
Um,
Right. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like I want to move, like, okay, but what is that what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I move, if I move, like what do I want out of that? What, you know, work wise, like what do I want? Want it exactly what I want and
Mm.
ask for it. And let it, you know, yeah. Put
Yeah.
out my
Well,
hand,
your hand. Yeah.
yeah, and give it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's okay. Give me that.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. Um, yeah.
Mm.
What do you want?
Yeah.
What do y'all
Wow.
want?
So many ties and everything you just said, like the panhandling. I've never thought of when that word came from, but in my head, I think it was just like somebody putting out a pan. But the empty cup, like wow, like I've been having these conversations with other people in our little village, recently about what like as women, like asking for support and asking for things because I think we think that other people's capacity is they don't have the capacity to help us, and so we don't want to burden anybody. But I think it's in the asking that even if it doesn't specifically come from that person, it will come to you from source. It will arrive, and so just the vocalizing of like I need that. But then also something else you said is like I have the same issue. I'm like, what do I want? Like, what do I and Nyla's so good at this. She's like, I need a hug, I need to eat. And she like advocates for each of her needs. And I'm like, wow, like that's amazing to me. I don't think I was ever able to speak for my needs. And in that, I don't know what my needs actually are sometimes. And yes, I want to move, but I also don't know. Like, I'm like, oh, but I still want to live in Oakland. I still, like those details of what that looks like. But wow, what a amazing lesson that we all get to practice together, to asking for what we want and figuring out what we want before we could ask. Um, I love all the symbolism. That's amazing. Tied in together.
Yeah, I think what you said, that vocalization of our needs, it just like breaks it up. It breaks the tension or something, us not having to hold it inside our heads
Mhm.
or in hearts all alone anymore. Like it's outside of us now. And it just really does tend to bring forth what we need
Yeah.
through whatever means.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, so I do have an offering of um I can't, it's really hard to do sound things on Zoom. Like it'll sound funky. We try to do sound things. So I'm gonna save that for our in-person gathering. Doing some like sound work. But I do have an invitation to do some ocean breathing, which kind of, the ocean, it takes all and it gives all. Like that's how it rolls. And what is on the shore comes to shore, what stays stays. And so I want to do an offering that. Um, but it also, Shawnee, you talking about the stomach, I was like, oh, maybe we need to do some belly love, some of that. So those are some invitations that I have. Um, you all have any, so anything that you you want? What do you want? What do you need in this
That
space?
sounds amazing. I'm open to that, to doing that. Yeah. Isn't our throat chakras connected to our wombs? Is that something I heard or I made up? That like
Yes.
they're connected to each other. So like
Yeah, so
speaking our
your
needs.
throat, yeah, the jaw, that's why I like chewing, like people who chew gum, it's like very, it can be draining on
Mm,
the womb energy. Yeah. So yeah, they
yeah.
are very. very much connected. And like that's what babies like, that's their like first real
Mm.
sense is um, you know, the mouth, and that's how they move in the world, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, very, very much connected, yes.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, cool. So let's just find a nice comfortable seat. Feeling supported. Feeling our feet on the ground. Wherever they might be. Feeling our spines. Connecting us in between earth and the above, beyond. Finding our hands. Taking inhale and exhale. And then open, have our hand palms together. We'll open them up. We'll keep them in this offering mudra, this receiver. And take a few moments of thinking about times when you've hesitated, when we've wanted to ask, but thought, assumed, felt, and so we didn't. Not judging ourselves because we can't go back and change, but by reflecting, we can hold space for that shadow, for that lingering. Now we'll start to do some breathing. So you can hold that self, that instance of hesitation, not speaking our truth. We can offer it as we inhale. We can fill ourselves up with love, with what we want to say next time, the next time. And as we exhale, pushing that hesitation, that thing that we can't change, but we can push it away. Just inhaling and exhaling. As we're breathing, we'll add a little bit more. So going into our Ujjayi ocean breath. So now we can imagine that thing, that hesitation that made us, that we had, and we can imagine it on the ocean. Going away, just floating away. And we can imagine our bodies as this breath pushing, this wind pushing this thing somewhere, float the distance where it has space to be. So as we inhale, you can fill the belly, fill your rib cage up to your heart. And as you exhale, feel your breath coming out of your throat, pushing like away, inhaling belly, wide with the ribs up to the heart, and exhaling, feeling the breath. You might even make a little sound as you exhale. You can like you're fogging a mirror, a little constriction of the throat to really feel the breath. I'm just working with this energy, space of expansion. To know that there's always an again, We have the space to receive and to do as we decide. And with our hands still open, we can ask that love always make its way back. Even if we send the things that we don't like to have space, we send them away with love, they will return to us in love and transform. So now that hesitation that we sent away, and start to float back to us. And perhaps now we can welcome it as a pause. So, in those moments when we need or want, we now have a moment to remember what it is and speak to it. That need or that want can be spoken clearly with attention and intention, because we've transformed hesitation to reflection. Let's come back to you. Take a big breath and just release the hands. Flow all the way down. Again, inhale. Let the hands come to the belly. Just feel your breath here. Feel the movements that are happening in this space of softness. It's our emotional center in our chakras. Science says that our belly is our second brain. Giving love to this intuitive space. Asking that it be guided with love always. For this, we're going to do a motion. It's called sun chasing moon. So just find your right hand and your fingertips pointing toward each other on your belly. And then we're going to move the right hand towards the left hand. The left hand's going to come down. So we're making circles. And then when our hands start to cross, let them cross and come back up. You're just making circles, the hands cross. Just making the sun chases moon. Light shining, reflecting. Calling for our masculine energy to follow and be led by our feminine energy. A lot of in our patriarchal society, we often see this portrayed the opposite way, but sun sun follows the moon. The moon does not follow the sun. And continue to breathe. We'll take one more big breath. Then exhale. Just think your belly. Thank yourself. Think all that you have done. Think all that you will do. Mm. Ashe. Thank you. Hmm.
Thank you for that. That was wonderful. Mm.
Yeah. Hmm. Anything you want to share? Can.
My womb felt like I just gave it the biggest hug ever. It was really sweet.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah, and that is then sunshades it's nice to do laying down. I usually do it as I like fall to sleep. I'll do that. It's a nice fall to sleep routine. Now hug my knees and wind release.
Yeah, very nurturing, and it reminds me of what I learned when I was briefly doing massage therapy training. The massage we learned to do on the belly was just like that,
Mm.
circling.
Yeah.
Right.
The full belly massage. It's one of the hardest massages to for people to allow
Mhm.
practitioners to do because it's so vulnerable. It's such a vulnerable space. So it's one that usually just I've practiced it a few times on people, but it's usually on myself,
Mm.
or Owen, babies,
Yeah.
their bodies.
I love the practice of holding out our hands. I feel like I definitely went to places. Growing up in Pakistan, that we called people on the street beggars, and that's was like the analogy of like people we're not them or like looked down upon or shamed, and like it like so just like don't be a beggar. Like those are just terms that I heard growing up, and so it was like very hard for me for such a long time to ask for things because like don't be a beggar. It was like the thing playing in my head. So yeah, thank you for taking me back there. I'm like, where did I learn this? Just like filing through the cabinets to make it make sense. It was really beautiful to release that to the water and know that it's okay to ask for what I need, and know that we're always supported. Um, yeah, that's the first time I've gone back to my childhood to figure out where that came from. So thank you for that exercise. That's really, really powerful for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Um, yeah, because it comes from somewhere. We do
Yeah,
learn it and have the opportunity to unlearn it and invite it back.
of
And
course. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. Um, Hi, Destiny. You're catching us for the
Hey
look.
y'all, I'm so sorry. I'm a little bit under the weather, so it's just been a very supposed to be restful but like hectic day.
Mm,
But I'm glad I was able to catch the tail end.
Me too.
yeah. Yeah, we recorded it, so you can check in about it because yeah, we want you to breathe it out. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. And this mudra, um, yeah, I'm not sure what's called in Sanskrit. I never learned this. I actually learned this from I did it. I started doing it.
Mm,
Because most of last year crying was my practice. That was like
mm,
the universe. That was my message to learn how to cry, to
mm.
learn how to reconnect with that first language. And I was told by a Muslim woman that in Islam, this is their prayer. This is prayer hands.
I think it's
And
called dua.
what is it called?
Dua, dua, like
What?
when you give dua,
Ah,
yeah. But I don't know if that's the mudra, if that's the name of the mudra. I have to look it.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But it is you're offering and asking, and it was originally tears. You're supposed
Mm,
to cry and ask
mm,
Allah
okay.
with your tears. So you would cry and then that's how you would ask. So um yeah, it is we have to ask.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to cry to ask. Like it's
Yes,
like in
Shannon.
those breakdown moments of like surrender and like, God, I can't do this anymore. This is so hard, or like whatever. Those words that I weren't so easy to come out of my mouth. Like those are the breakthrough moments where I realize like things come right after that. It's like when I'm like, yeah, it's like the moment you give birth and you're like the few moments right before you're like, I can't do this anymore. The nurse said like if I had a penny for every time a woman said that and then gave birth immediately after, like I would be so rich. And I believed it because it's just like the moment of like, I can't do this anymore. And let like be taken care of by the powers that lie beyond us. Yeah, cry. It's like kids cry to get babies cry to get what they want. Yeah, so wow, so many big aha moments right now. Thank you, Maria. Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. How are y'all doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah,
Good.
same. It's just nice to remember that that's really natural. It's really natural for us to cry. It's really natural for us to need. And that's part of the human journey.
Mhm,
Just as you were talking about this business of people, it being illegal for people to ask,
mm.
I'll pass on that comment. Somebody's asking me something right now. So I'm going.
They need their needs met. We feel you. Oh, these kids teach us so much about, yeah, it's okay to ask and break those patterns that we were taught. Um, yeah, stop. Like a lot of the also what I was unpacking during that meditation was stop asking, like people telling me to stop asking for things, you know. So yeah, it's like okay, now I'm not no longer doing that. We're asking.
Mm, mm. We're asking, we're being heard.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,